Hi, afternoon everyone. Welcome to my channel. So, since artificial intelligence has become some of the biggest issues in today's society and it affects the future, and it's been one of the biggest news over the last few months, and I think it's time that we should, talk about this. While I will not discuss to you the basics or the details about it, I can send you the links and you can read the definitions about it. But I'm going to discuss to you in ways that it affects our daily lives, and I will speak to it like in a worker's perspective, in a human's perspective of what this can actually do, and why it's very important that we do not neglect this issue. So, I'm not going to sound like an expert on this because I haven't read much of the details, but I'm going to discuss to you um, of why there's been a lot of this sensationalism and all this hype up about this so called innovation regarding automation and artificial intelligence. While the godfathers and the creators of the artificial intelligence from 50 years ago are now complaining and they're now going public that they're getting scared of their creations and their creations are being abused, while I have no problem with artificial intelligence, I think it's a good way just to be creative and to play around with it like it's an art. But I think to use it in a ways that it affects work, it affects the everyone's productivity. I think it's a very dangerous point, and I believe that it was not meant. They didn't mean to do that when they were forming it. So even the director James Cameron, who is known for the directing the Terminator movies, which next year will reach its 40th year since it came out, have been warning about this issue about both robotics, automation, and artificial intelligence. While I do think people didn't listen to what he had to say about it, I think that they knew, and they knew it was going to happen, and they decided not to listen to it. They know how dangerous what it was, but they decided not to listen to it because the truth is that as soon as they realize what people in power you can believe they can use AI and automation as a way to preserve power and the status quo. So while I don't have a problem with automation or robotics, I think robotics is good, especially for people who have disabilities or those who lost an arm or a leg or even both or even four of them to be specific. And I don't have a problem with automation uh, if it's as long as it's like a for personal convenience. But when it's used to replace personnel, or when both of those robotics and automation are used to replace personnel, that becomes a very big issue. And that is what seems to be what is going on right now is that the sensation of artificial intelligence, automation, and robotics are being used abusively, not for the personal convenience of the consumers, but it's also used to replace personnel in the workplace. And corporations and multi-billion million dollar companies, even rich CEOs, love this because they know how much they can get or they can enrich out of this kind of exploitation. And of course, corporate greed is one of the motivations, power is one of the motivations behind the enhancement and innovation of artificial intelligence and automation. So that is the reason why actors, screenwriters, screenplay writers, directors, and all like movie and TV crew are coming together as one side by side in over centuries to protest this kind of abuse by these executives, especially the protest is about the protection from artificial intelligence and those of the likes of this dangerous device called ChatGPT. And I like this comment from someone, this comedian named John Cleese said, is complementary. They're trying to replace the talents and mimic the talents of directors, actors, and writers and replace them with artificial intelligence. While I think it's safe to say that the um, why not we use that artificial intelligence to replace executives since they have no talent? That's the word of John Cleese, the comedian, the British comedian. So there are those who are venerating or worshipping AI like it is some sort of revolutionary innovation. But the truth is that this type of revolutionary is going to replace humans in some form of aspects, and I think that's why there's so many people who are protesting this artificial intelligence, and that's why the European Union recently voted in the parliament to enforce policies of regulations and control to limit the or how to use carefully artificial intelligence. While I am not here to spread fear mongering about this device, and I'm not here trying to spread fear mongering, but I'm here to expose and unmask the truth behind the abuse and the sensationalism behind automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence. And that's the whole reason why you hear about all this crafted images of artificial intelligence, and you can hear in business forums about this so-called innovation. While I do not subscribe to these ideologies, political ideologies or economic ideologies, but I'm here to expose that this type of abuse of power and greed coming from people on top is the whole reason why this whole artificial intelligence is so becoming rapid and sensational. And I'm not here to change your mind about this type of innovation, but the truth is that if we as a people do not do something about this, and we cannot come together to help how we can do this kind of control of technology, it's gonna become like those dystopian nightmares in movies like that came out in the 20th century, like about the computer thing, 2001 The Space Odyssey, or the Terminator, and then the Matrix, iRobot, or even like what's this other movie, I forgot. Oh yeah, Blade Runner. In Blade Runner is another dystopian science fiction of like this, what they call replicants. They're like you know like this sort of like robotics of humans, but I haven't watched those full movies yet. But I think they're trying to make the US or the world a dystopian nightmare for the disenfranchised and the poor, and so many people who are trying to survive for a living by trying to replace them with this like robots or replicants. So that's the whole reason why you really have to watch out for this, and you have to be careful when you hear about this kind of narratives, because that is the whole truth, and they want you to fear, and they say they do not want you to fear. But I'm not trying to spread fear here, but that is the whole truth behind all this kind of so-called innovation or revolutionary device. So I hope you learned something. I'm gonna send you info, links, videos for you to watch or read, and so I will see you in my next video.